The seed packet tells you the variety name. It gives you the days to maturity and the disease resistance codes. It does not tell you the one word that controls how many cucumbers that plant will produce across an entire season. That word determines whether nearly every flower on the vine sets fruit, or whether the plant spends its first 3 weeks producing flowers that cannot set fruit, regardless of how well you water or fertilize. Most American gardeners have never read it on a seed label. Most garden centers stock only varieties where the distinction is invisible to the buyer. The nursery industry has no reason to explain it because the gardener who understands it buys from specialty catalogs instead of whatever sits in the plastic rack near the register. 13 things like this are ahead. Number 8 is that word, everything before it earns it. Every item ahead comes with an exact cultivar name, a USDA zone number, and the specific care instruction that separates a productive plant from a decorative one. Number 8 is the item I wish someone had shown me the first time I ordered seeds. The one word on a packet that determines your total harvest before the plant is in the ground. Subscribe so it lands in your feed the moment it goes live. Number 1 is soil temperature. If you plant on the last frost date and the seedling surface pale, spindly, and yellow-tinged, the calendar is not your problem. Cold soil invites Pythium crown rot, a fungal disease that destroys the crown underground before the plant ever breaks the surface. Cucumbers require 60 degrees Fahrenheit at root depth, minimum. Take 3 consecutive morning readings with a soil thermometer at 2-inch depth and average them. Never plant on one warm afternoon. Marketmore 76 is the most reliable germinator at marginal temperatures in any standard catalog, but even it fails in cold, wet ground. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Maine, gardeners are routinely planting into 48 degrees Fahrenheit soil on the date their calendar tells them the season is open. Vigorous, warm soil seedlings outpace cucumber beetle establishment, opening a growth window before peak pest pressure in July. The soil tells you when, the calendar does not. Number 2 is trellising. Ground-grown cucumbers lose 40 to 60% of their fruit to slugs, stem rot, and fruit hidden in the vine until it yellows. Vertical growing changes that immediately. The same variety hangs straight, deeply colored, and accessible. The ground-grown neighbor shows mottled yellow undersides by mid-July. Most gardeners trellis because space is short. That is the wrong reason. Straight 8 is the standard vining variety for vertical growing. Space Master 80 is the compact bush form where a trellis is not an option. Both produce in zones 3 through 10, but in Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina, soil contact in June transmits disease most gardeners blame on weather. Set your lowest trellis wire at 5 to 6 inches above soil and train vines onto it within the first week. University of Kentucky Extension documented downy mildew reductions exceeding 50% in vertically grown plots. Get it off the ground. Number 3, pruning laterals. A disciplined vine managed from the start bears 2 to 3 accessible fruit at every lateral node, each hanging visible and within reach. An unpruned vine hides fruit until it seeds out. What most American gardeners don't know is that cucumbers fruit on lateral shoots, not the main vine. That distinction changes every pruning decision. Remove laterals below node 5 by hand, not scissors. Cut surfaces invite angular leaf spot bacteria. From node 6 upward, release them. Persian Baby is the heaviest lateral producer in any standard catalog. Bait Alpha runs close behind. Both perform in zones 4 through 10, and Southwest gardeners in Arizona and New Mexico see the sharpest return. The extended growing window compounds the early work. An open canopy lets lacewings and parasitic wasps reach aphid colonies that a dense, unpruned vine physically protects from them. Less vine, more cucumber, every time. Number 4 is hand pollination. In the first 2 weeks of bloom, female flowers drop without setting, and most gardeners assume it is normal early season behavior. It is not. In urban gardens surrounded by turf in Chicago, Detroit, and Philadelphia, native bee populations are too low to reliably pollinate new plantings. A swelling ovary begins to elongate within 48 hours of success. A dropped, dry, shriveled curl is what failure looks like. Between 7 and 10 in the morning, transfer pollen from the male flower's central stamen to the female flower's sticky stigma. Pollen viability drops sharply after midday heat. Diva, an AAS award winner and parthenocarpic variety, sets fruit without pollination entirely in zones 3 through 9. Calypso performs the same way. Both produce seedless fruit that holds crispness in pickling brine measurably longer than seeded standard types. 2 minutes with a paintbrush. That is your early harvest. Number 8 on this list is the single word printed on certain seed packets that determines how many flowers on your vine will ever set fruit before the plant is in the ground. Most American gardeners have never read it. Most garden centers don't stock the varieties where it matters. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Number 5 is the fertilizer pivot. A cucumber plant fed on nitrogen-heavy fertilizer through July looks like a success. Broad, dark, glossy leaves at every node, vines running past the trellis. Almost no fruit. What most American gardeners don't know is that the pivot to potassium must happen at the first visible flower bud, not the first open flower. By the time the flower opens, the plant's energy allocation has already been decided. In Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania, gardeners feed 10-10-10 through August and conclude the variety failed them. Switch to 5-10-10 or 3-4-6 the week the first bud appears. 1 week early is correct. 1 week late misses the window. Marketmore 97 performs in zones 3 through 10 and shows the sharpest documented response to this timing. Potassium-fed fruit develops thicker skin and holds 2 to 3 additional days after harvest. The flower bud is the signal. Respond to it. Number 6 is deep watering. Daily surface watering keeps the top 2 inches wet and the bottom 6 inches dry. Cucumber roots trained that way wilt at the first 3-day heat wave. Deep watered fruit is uniformly colored, tip to stem, and snaps cleanly. Surface watered cucumbers taper to a bitter tip and split when cut. The cause is cucurbitacin. It activates under moisture stress, and a plant that never experiences surface drought never produces it. Water at the base for 20 to 30 minutes every 3 days, drip line at the drip line, not the stem, and skip surface watering on off days. Cucumber roots forage to 18 to 24 inches on infrequent deep cycles. Tasty Jade performs in zones 3 through 10 with measurably lower cucurbitacin production even under thermal stress, critical in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, where summer temperatures above 95 degrees Fahrenheit routinely evaporate shallow moisture within hours. Deep roots extend your harvest by 2 to 3 weeks in dry years. Train the root. Trust the plant. Number 7 is mulch selection. Standard advice says mulch your cucumbers. What it does not say is that black plastic in Zone 5 builds your spring soil temperature and that same material in Zone 8 in August spikes root zone heat above 85 degrees Fahrenheit and stops production. Transplants on black plastic in early June are measurably larger within 10 days than bare soil plants in the same bed. Bush pickle, a compact variety built for short northern seasons, benefits most from that early warmth window. In zones 3 through 6, use black plastic or IRT film from transplant through early July, then pull it and replace with 2 to 3 inches of straw before August. Mississippi, Louisiana, and Florida, gardeners in zones 7 through 10 start with straw from the beginning. It intercepts soil splash transmission of angular leaf spot, a bacterial disease most gardeners have been attributing to their watering technique for years. Mulch is a decision, not a routine. Number 8 is gynoecious variety selection. The word is gynoecious, and I did not read it on a seed packet until year 5. In mid-July, a gynoecious plant shows a tiny cucumber behind nearly every open flower. A monoecious plant shows male-only nodes for 3 weeks, a gap most new growers mistake for failure. Olympian is the gynoecious slicing standard. H19 little leaf is the pickling equivalent, self-pollinating due to a small leaf structure that gives pollinators consistent access. Both perform in zones 3 through 9. Most local garden centers and big box nurseries carry none. Johnny's selected seeds in Winslow, Maine, and High Mowing organic seeds in Wolcott, Vermont carry full lines. Plant 1 monoecious pollinizer per every 6 gynoecious plants. The dyed seeds in the packet are not fillers. Cornell University documented it, 25 to 40% more marketable fruit per plant. That one word on the seed packet changes everything. Number 9 is harvest timing. The catalog says harvest at 6 to 8 inches. What it does not say is that one overripe cucumber triggers plant senescence, new flower bud formation drops 60 to 70% within 72 hours. The damage begins 4 to 5 days before swollen shoulders, yellowing skin, and a hollow sound when tapped confirm the fruit is past its window. In zones 5 through 7, peak production runs through July. In Georgia, Texas, and California, it starts in June. Check every 48 hours. Cut with scissors at the stem, never twist. Stem damage inhibits the next bud and invites angular leaf spot bacteria at the wound. Space Master 80 hides fewer cucumbers in zones 3 through 10 than a sprawling vine. Consistent 48-hour harvesting maintains the plant's reproductive cycle for 8 to 10 additional weeks, 2 to 3 times the total fruit count of weekly picking. Miss 1, lose 20. Number 12 on this list is a frost date calculation that takes 90 seconds and determines whether a second planting has time to fully produce before your season ends. Most American gardeners run this math from general zone charts instead of their own zip code data and plant 2 weeks too late to matter. Share this with one gardening friend before you keep going. Number 10 is companion planting. Cucumbers in isolation face aphid and cucumber beetle pressure with no buffer. By late June, nasturtiums planted 12 to 18 inches away become dense, orange-flowered trap crops. Aphid colonies concentrate on their stems, while cucumber foliage stays clean. Standard advice says plant them nearby. It does not name the mechanism. Nasturtiums work through aphid preference, not chemical deterrence. French marigolds, Teget's patula, not African marigold, suppress root knot nematodes through alpha-terthianol in root tissue. Jewel mix nasturtium holds a compact habit with consistent aphid draw. Bonanza series. French marigold is the Teget's patula with confirmed root exudate. Both grow in zones 3 through 10. In North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia, striped cucumber beetle peaks from late May through August. Plant nasturtiums at transplant time. Trap crops need 3 weeks to function before the first beetle flight. Syrphid fly larvae devour aphid colonies all season. The trap crop is the first line. Let it do the work. Number 11 is direct sowing versus transplanting. The decision is zone-specific. In Minnesota, Michigan, Maine, and Montana, zones 3 through 5, a plant started indoors 21 days before last frost arrives at transplant with a thicker stem, darker leaf color, and first true leaves already expanded. A direct sown neighbor from that same calendar date is not close. Zone 8 through 10 gardeners who start indoors create transplant shock that a direct sown seed at 65 degrees Fahrenheit soil would never produce. The correction most gardeners miss: cucumbers started more than 3 weeks ahead become root-bound and transplant poorly. Exactly 21 days. Start in 4-inch biodegradable pots and bury the entire pot at transplant. Cucumbers do not tolerate bare root handling at any stage. Diva holds up to transplant stress better than any other standard variety. Zone 3 through 5 gardeners who time this correctly get their first cucumber 2 to 3 weeks ahead of a direct sown planting, 21 days, not 22. Number 12 is succession planting. Most gardeners plant cucumbers once and manage a single harvest window that runs 3 to 4 weeks before disease and exhaustion take over. The catalog calls this a complete season. University of Minnesota Extension documents 200 to 300% total yield increases from 2 succession plantings in a single year versus 1. By mid-July, the contrast is immediate, fresh, deep green growth from the second planting alongside yellowing, mildew-covered vines from the first. Calypso reaches first harvest in 52 days, parthenocarpic and built for tight, late windows. Zones 4 through 9, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Michigan must get the second planting in by July 15th. Look up your first fall frost date by zip code on NOAA's climate data portal, not a zone chart, then count back exactly 10 weeks. Staggered plantings interrupt cucumber beetle pressure. The second planting opens before the beetle population tracking. The first one relocates. 2 plantings, twice the season. Number 13 is powdery mildew prevention. Gardeners who wait for the white coating have already lost. Podosfera xanthii is systemic by the time the leaf surface turns. What looks like water splash marks in week 1 is the infection already established. The white dusted leaf in week 2 is pulling carbon away from fruit, not producing it. The correction most gardeners miss: this is an obligate airborne pathogen. It spreads by spores. It does not require wet leaves to infect, and stopping overhead watering does nothing to control it. Apply potassium bicarbonate, 1 tablespoon per gallon of water, 1 drop of dish soap as surfactant, once per week, beginning 30 days after transplant, before any visible symptom. Marketmore 97, Diva, and Olympia carry the strongest resistance ratings in Cornell University vegetable variety trials. Zones 4 through 10, Virginia, North Carolina, and Maryland see Podosfera xanthii establish reliably by early August, when relative humidity holds above 60% for weeks. Prevent it on the calendar. You cannot cure it on site. The catalog called this easy. It told you the days to maturity, the disease resistance codes, and the expected fruit length. It did not tell you about flower-sex ratios, fertilizer pivot windows, or the 72-hour production trigger you cross every time you leave a ripe cucumber on the vine. None of the 13 corrections ahead required expensive tools or rare materials. Gynoecious varieties, a soil thermometer, a pair of scissors used every 48 hours, that is the distance between a decorative vine and a productive one. The information existed, it simply was not on the packet. Which of these 13 secrets are you already using in your garden this season? And which one surprised you most, the one you plan to try first before your next planting goes in? Drop both in the comments. A gardener in your exact zone and your exact soil conditions is reading what you write right now. And what you know from 3 seasons of trial in your own yard is worth more to them than anything the catalog is going to tell them.